What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my pickups video for the month of February 2022. Unfortunately, it was another quiet month. Not a whole lot of travel, and also not a whole lot of game finds. Market is still absolutely insane. I know I say it every month for the last few months, but it is still very, very true. And it's just really hard to find good deals out and about on video games. There just seems to be so many more people chasing them all of a sudden. Even within the last few months, I've noticed this shift. So inventory is very dry. Not a lot of people letting things go, trading in. Also, with tax season coming up, I don't see that changing in the next couple months either, in the United States at least. So let's take a look at the few things I was able to grab this month. I did get a pretty big game off my want list, and it was for the set that I'm going for, which is the Neo Geo Pocket Color Complete United States set. So I found really nice copy of Neo Mystery Bonus, which is a gambling game for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. Specifically, it's a slot machine game, and it is, I guess, actually kind of addictive. I played it for about an hour when I first got it, but it's so mindless. Like, I didn't really feel like I was winning anything or really getting a sense of achievement about it. It was just kind of zoning out to a slot machine. So if that's your thing, typically I prefer table games if I'm going to gamble. I don't really do a lot of slots, but I guess I can see the appeal, and just if you want to turn your mind off and mindlessly play and try to get cherries, it is your thing. This one's kind of interesting too, just because there are, like I said, multiple gambling games for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. They all seem to be some of the more difficult titles to find. And really just, kind of interesting how these were marketed. They came in kind of this black edge box, which only the gambling games I've noticed have that. So maybe it was a way to stand them apart on the shelf. And then I also think it's kind of interesting, there's a little bit of a contradiction here. It got an ESRB rating of an E for everyone, but then on the back it has a little black box here that says recommended for 21 and over. So, I guess gambling is okay by the ESRB, but not so much by SNK. These were developed by a company called Dyna, which put out a few of the releases on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, but not one of the major developers for the system. So anyway, this gets me to 4 away from the complete US set. This has been easily the most challenging full set that I've ever tried to put together, trying to get them complete in the box especially. So getting down to the nitty-gritty, the last few releases just don't come up for sale very often, so when they do, I try to grab them. This one actually turned out, like I said, in very nice condition, and it ended up being a very close seller to me within the same state. So came very quickly, which was nice to see. The other thing SNK related this month that I got was also an eBay find, and that is Baseball Stars 2 for the Neo Geo CD. Really, really enjoying this game. This was kind of on the back burner of Neo Geo CD games that I was looking for. I knew I could easily find it. They sold pretty many copies of this compared to most of the Neo Geo CD releases. But I have noticed it's starting to go up in price, so I just decided to go ahead and grab it, because again, there was a sale on eBay that was local, or, within the same state, and I knew I could get it pretty quick in the mail. Ended up playing this for several hours the night that I got it, and really, really got lost in the gameplay. I've played a lot of baseball games of the, 16, 32-bit era, and a lot of them just, don't hold my appeal very long, but this one with its much faster-paced arcade gameplay, very, very fun, and the games just play like a pleasure with them. Nine innings go very fast in this game, so there's really no point in the lag of the action. The computer cheats a little bit, in my opinion, with the way that they're able to, get some different, some safe bases and things like that that are really hard for you to do as the hitter, but is really fun just to challenge yourself with this game. The other thing I want to shout out on this is the artwork on the cover is excellent. I absolutely love all the facial expressions of all the players that they've captured here. I think it just does a good mood set for what a game of baseball looked like, at least in the 90s. And just really nice artwork from SNK, as, you kind of were prone to see during this era. I'd also like to get the first Baseball Stars for Neo Geo CD. Unfortunately, the artwork on that one's kind of ugly, and this one's obviously the more refined and more well-known of the two. At least in my opinion, but would like to have it too, just to kind of compare and contrast the two. I had played this one a little bit in the arcade and just the random Neo Geo MVS cabinets I saw, but hadn't put nearly the amount of time that I did this month, and I can see why this game has a pretty big fan base. So can highly recommend this. This was one of the earlier Neo Geo arcade games, and so it got brought to the CD a few years later. It's not necessarily a graphical powerhouse by any means, but there is some nice character expressions and things like that of the players that they've added in. Just really gives it a fun feel. So definitely enjoying that much more than I even expected I would this month. The next thing I got was another eBay find, and this was for an NES game that I didn't have the manual, and I'm going for a full manual set on the NES. But I found this with the box as well, and I like to get the boxes when I can, but it's not necessarily a must, just due to the space and just how expensive a lot of them are getting. But this is one of the more obscure titles for the NES, and I thought it would really be neat to have this complete because I like the artwork on it. This is Isolated Warrior, and so I got a box and manual together with this, and I already had the cartridge, so now this is complete. But this one is kind of an interesting isometric shooter game, and, run and gun style, but isometric gameplay. Not a whole lot of other NES games really play like this, and I've always thought it was a pretty well-developed game. A company called NTVIC published this in the US, and they were not a major publisher of the NES. I looked them up, and they were actually a subsidiary of the NTV Japanese Television Network that, I guess, decided to open up a US branch and put out a few games for the NES, I think Super Nintendo, and maybe even Game Boy. They had a few other releases as well. But this one was actually developed by a company called KID, which stands for Kindle Imagine Develop, and they are the developer of one of my all-time favorite games, which is Board Game Top Shop on the PS1. I profiled that in a separate video a few years ago, but obviously can pick up and play that game at any time. So I like to find some of those games by that developer just when I can. Their track record was a little bit all over the map, but this is one of their good ones. And I just, you don't hear a lot about this game on the NES. I don't know if it's just because it's seen as kind of difficult, but the isometric gameplay style is very unique, and it's really plays pretty well for a game that was from around the 1990 era, about the midpoint of the NES. So can recommend this if you've never checked it out. And like I said, the artwork's kind of cool and just even kind of bizarre, just with like this text at this odd angle, almost an isometric angle itself. So they tried some different things there with the box art too. The very last thing I got this month, and like I said, not a lot of stuff I picked up this month, was an odd thrift store find, and that was a VHS cassette. And I'm not a VHS collector by any means, but I had to grab this. This was the Sega Saturn promo tape from when the system first launched. So most likely they gave this out to retailers and might have even given it as like a mail away for people that wanted more information from Sega. Doesn't have a whole lot of content on it. I can tell just by the weight that it's a pretty short tape, so it might only be like, a few commercials or something like that. But I thought it was really neat, especially just the design with the Sega sticker all over the VHS casing and things like that. I don't think this ever came with an outer sleeve. Maybe it did, or maybe it just had like a plain white sleeve with the sticker that kind of showed through it. But I don't know. I decided to go ahead and grab it. I haven't hooked up a VCR to try this out or anything like that, but I thought it would look kind of neat. Just the sticker's pretty bold and things like that. So if you've ever seen the Sega Saturn promo tape, you can let me know what's on here. It's probably available on YouTube. If I just searched it, I've just been a little too lazy to do that. So decided to grab that pretty much for shelf candy, but I thought it looked kind of neat. But that pretty much does it. Like I said, it's not for lack of trying. There just hasn't been a whole lot of stuff to find, especially locally this month. Still looking to finish off a few subsets and things like that, and I got a couple things in the works on one of the subsets that I'm working on. But hopefully I'll be able to show some of that in my next video. So thank you very much for watching. Please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day or night, wherever you are.